Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is easily a must-own for any RPG fan with a Switch. It's hard to not be awestruck by what Monolith Soft has achieved in revitalizing this classic Wii title, bringing it to a new generation and giving it the tender love and care that it so obviously deserves. Still the best of Monolith Soft's 3 Xenoblade games, tweaked and polished to perfection. This is the same JRPG that Nintendo has published twice before, and it largely holds up. Unfortunately, the aging RPG now looks and feels a bit dated, especially after Xenoblade Chronicles 2's release. For the newer player, unless a good, solid combat system is all you need for your JRPG experience, this might be a tough one to recommend. If they had seriously reworked the combat in some way, it probably wouldn't really be Xenoblade Chronicles anymore, but I imagine I would also have had a much better time with it. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition comes out tomorrow, meaning all the reviews came out yesterday and they're still coming out today and probably some tomorrow, maybe some the day after. And yeah, reviews are dumb. That's what I'm trying to get across here. So many people can play the exact same game and have the same experiences, but it's also subjective that we get such disparaging, such different reactions that honestly reviews are almost pointless these days. If you go on to Metacritic, unless a game is truly horrible, and you take the Metacritic score, which is just like an aggregate of all the major video game publications online and YouTube and wherever else, take all their scores and they add them together and average them, I believe, they're usually going to be in the 80s. Again, unless the game is just horrible. Now, to me, that just means video game journalism has become almost pointless in the way of reviewing games. Now, video game journalism is great for covering news. There are a lot of, especially the bigger companies like IGN, they cover everything. So if you want to stay up to date on things, not a bad place to start, not a bad place to follow. But the problem really comes when they have opinion pieces and they have millions and millions of people who visit their site or follow them on Twitter or subscribe to them on YouTube and watch their videos there and their reviews, that we run into a problem. So IGN and other big video game publications are, again, they draw in a huge crowd because they cover so much and they cover so much news. And that is necessary. I think we do need that in the gaming community. But where the problem comes is where they have so much power and viewership that their review receives more weight than it deserves. Ultimately, my goal here is just to say that reviews really don't matter all that much in the grand scheme of things. It's nearly impossible to identify whether or not you will enjoy a game based on someone else's experiences. You may be able to watch gameplay and kind of get a feel. You might be able to find a reviewer who generally has the same opinions as you. But overall, you're not going to be able to know if you enjoy a game unless you experience it yourself. And that's kind of how everything is. That's how movies are, that's how books are, that's how TV shows are. Everything in media, we don't really know how to feel about it, or shouldn't, I should say, or we shouldn't let other people dictate how we feel about it until we enjoy it or not enjoy it, despise it, dislike it, on our own. So I see a lot of stuff on Twitter, like people will get upset about someone posting their score, specifically bigger companies posting their score, and people being upset about it, being like, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about, they're just a big game company, whatever. And I'm not defending them, I'm just saying it's such a subjective thing that game reviews are honestly to a point where I just don't even care about them anymore. I used to religiously look up reviews before buying a game from basically like everywhere I could find when I was younger, and now I watch the trailers. Maybe I'll watch like a 15-minute gameplay video of it or something if I'm still not sure, and if that looks fun to me, then it's probably going to be fun to me, and I grab it and play it. Whereas relying on the reviews and the opinions of other people isn't always going to be great. I'm sure we all have been burned at one point or another by buying a game that was highly reviewed by one agency or another, and we were just disappointed or didn't have as much fun with it, Just look at... I mean, I personally really like Skyward Sword, so I'm a bad example of this. But The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword got really high reviews from most sites. And now people honestly kind of hate it. So it's so subjective in that way, and it's hard to really get a feel. And when you have such crazy different opinions, such as, oh, you know, this is the best game ever made, it's a masterpiece, you definitely should own this on your Switch, to, I don't know, unless you really enjoy JRPGs, this isn't for you. I think the biggest problem comes down to the score. I don't think we need scores on reviews. I understand that puts it in an easily digestible single thing you can look at to say, okay, this site recommends this game, this site doesn't. But it doesn't really say much. What is an 8? What is a 7? What is a 10? What's a 9.5? What's the difference between a 9.9 and a 10? You use sites that do what is there, like 1 to 10 with a decimal point scale. What is the difference between a 9.9 and a 10? Or what's the difference between a 99 and a 100, if you're one of those? Like, it's so just granular and stupid to me. Like, the review numbers don't really mean anything anymore. They just kind of like, oh, this game feels like a 9.5 or whatever. Like, what the freak do you mean? I actually really prefer, and I really enjoy, I don't know how people feel about Game Informer. Not Game Informer, sorry. I don't know how people feel about Game Explain. I really enjoy their rating method, which is, it's literally just like this big smiley face that either gets happy or sad. So it reminds me of like if you go to the doctor or the hospital or something. For kids, they always have, they ask you, an adult, they'll ask you, rate your pain on a scale from 1 to 10. For kids, they have like these little faces. It's like a frowny face for like horrible and a happy face for good, and then a bunch of different ranging faces in the middle to help kids really pick how they're feeling, because they might not understand the number system. And I think that works really, really well for games, to say like, oh, and they accompany those happy faces, Game Explain, with loved it, liked it, gotta have it or something like that, hated it, disliked it, like didn't feel anything. Like they have like these modifiers that go along with them that really just get across how they feel about the game, and it's very clear that that's their opinion. But the thing is, when you throw numbers in the mix, people get confused and see numbers and think, oh, statistics, math, this is right. But it's like, no, that's not how things work. Anyways, I'm personally excited for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I missed out on playing it on the Wii or the 3DS, so it's going to be a fresh experience for me, and I'm definitely going to pick it up. And the plan is to cover it and play it on the channel if you guys are interested. And if you're not interested, well, I'm still going to try it anyways, and maybe you guys will be interested. I don't know. But I'm really excited for it. So regardless of whatever review you read, don't let reviews influence you. I think the better way to go about finding out or researching if you want to play a game, like specifically, is to not read a review, or not necessarily that. It's not to look at the score of a review, and more at the contents of the review itself, I should say. Because the things they say might help you understand if you enjoy that or not. So, like, looking back at, like, bringing it back to Fire Emblem, because that's what we always do here. I'm sure, I can't remember. I remember reading a review for Three Houses that was really down on it and didn't like it. But the contents of the review, things that they said they didn't like or they thought were tedious, were things that I enjoy in a game. Therefore, I knew that I was going to enjoy Three Houses, or I already had played the game to death at that point, so I knew I enjoyed Three Houses. So look less at the score, and if you're really interested, take the time to read it. Scores on reviews mean next to nothing when it comes to video games. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. That's my rant on reviews and also Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Let me know what you think in the comments about reviews. Are you going to play Xenoblade? I'm curious. Are you guys interested in me playing on the channel? I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. I'll probably be streaming it for at least a few hours, maybe like who knows how long I'll stream it tomorrow. But I'm pretty excited for it. Let me know what you think. And of course, if you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our weekday uploads. Good stuff, good stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching, friends, and I'll catch you next time.